In the dusty, sun-scorched streets of Penhalonga, 1959, a 22-year-old Edgar Tekere moved with the restless energy of a storm about to break. Known to his peers as Two-Boy for his defiant streak at St. Augustine's mission school, he was no stranger to trouble, but this was different. The air in Rhodesia crackled with tension as the white settler government tightened its grip on black dissent. Tekere, with his sharp eyes and sharper tongue, had joined the African National Congress, ANC, a fledgling movement demanding equality in a land where black voices were silenced by force. His speeches, bold and unyielding, drew crowds in the townships, but they also drew the attention of the Rhodesian security forces. One humid evening, as the sun dipped below the Manicaland Hills, Tekere was addressing a small gathering near Mutare when the screech of police vans shattered the night. Officers in khaki uniforms descended, their batons gleaming under streetlights. "Edgar, you're under arrest for sedition," barked a sergeant, his voice thick with colonial arrogance. Tekere didn't flinch. He raised his chin, his lanky frame taut with defiance, and said, "You can chain my body, but never my spirit." At 22, he became the youngest black detainee under Rhodesia's brutal Law and Order Maintenance Act, a badge of honor that would define his life. The cell at Wawa detention camp was a concrete tomb, its walls etched with the despair of countless prisoners. Tekere, barely out of boyhood, found himself among hardened activists, their whispered stories of resistance fueling his resolve. The guards mocked his youth, calling him the boy rebel, but his quick wit and unshakable courage earned their grudging respect. Days bled into weeks, then months, as he endured solitary confinement, meager rations, and the constant threat of beatings. Yet, in the silence of his cell, Tekere's mind burned with visions of a free Zimbabwe. He scratched slogans into the dirt floor: freedom and war. Unbeknownst to his captors, Tekere's arrest only amplified his legend. Word of the youngest detainee spread through the townships, inspiring a new generation of activists. In a secret meeting facilitated by a sympathetic guard, ANC leaders vowed to escalate their campaign, with Tekere's name serving as a rallying cry. But the cost was steep. His family, already strained by his father's Anglican priesthood and his own rebellion against it, faced harassment. His mother, a quiet woman of faith, wept as Rhodesian police ransacked their home. Yet she sent him a hidden message: "Stay strong, my son. You are our hope." This early sacrifice set Tekere on a path of no return, a young man forged in chains, destined to challenge an empire. By 1964, Tekere's defiance had landed him in Ghanakudzingwa, a desolate prison camp in Rhodesia's southeast, where despair reigned. Alongside him was Robert Mugabe, a soft-spoken schoolteacher turned nationalist, whose reserved demeanor hid a calculating mind. The two men, thrown together by fate, shared a cell block with other ZANU leaders, including the party's founder, Ndabaningi Sithole. For 11 years, from 1964 to 1975, Ghanakudzingwa was their world, a crucible of ideology, loyalty, and betrayal. Tekere, now in his late 20s, was the firebrand, his charisma and fearlessness contrasting with Mugabe's quiet intensity. Yet, beneath their camaraderie, a power struggle simmered. In the sweltering summer of 1973, Tekere sensed a fracture in ZANU's soul. Sithole, once a revered figure, had grown cautious, rumored to be negotiating with Rhodesian authorities for his release. To Tekere, this was treason. ZANU's guerrillas, fighting in the bush, needed a leader with unwavering resolve, not a compromiser. In the dim light of their prison barracks, Tekere hatched a plan, a bloodless coup to reshape the liberation struggle. He rallied younger inmates, whispering of a new vision, and turned their allegiance to Mugabe, who, though less militant, had a knack for diplomacy that could unite factions. "Mugabe's our man," Tekere declared, his voice low but firm. Sithales lost his way. The coup unfolded in secret meetings. Coded messages passed through trusted prisoners. Tekere, with his knack for strategy, orchestrated a vote among ZANU's detained leaders. In a stunning upset, Sithale was ousted, and Mugabe was declared president of ZANU. Mugabe, whom Tekere later described in his memoir as a physical coward who flinched at the sound of gunfire, leaned heavily on Tekere's military briefings from smuggled guerrilla reports. Tekere became the kingmaker, his bold move cementing Mugabe's rise, yet planting the seeds of their future rift. The coup wasn't just a triumph. It was a gamble that nearly backfired. Sithale's loyalists accused Tekere of betrayal, and a brief scuffle broke out in the prison yard, with Tekere fending off a knife-wielding inmate. The Rhodesian guards, sensing division, tightened their grip, subjecting Tekere to weeks in solitary confinement for inciting unrest. Yet, the coup held, and Mugabe's leadership galvanized ZANU's external wing in Zambia and Mozambique. Tekere's sacrifice, alienating allies and risking his life, bought ZANU a new future, but it also tied his fate to a man whose ambition would later turn against him. In December 1975, after 11 years in chains, Tekere and Mugabe walked free, released under a détente deal brokered by South Africa. But freedom came with a price. Rhodesian intelligence hunted them, determined to crush ZANU's resurgence. The Eastern Highlands, a rugged borderland of mist-shrouded mountains and snake-infested rivers, became their escape route. Tekere, now 38, led the way, his lean frame hardened by prison, his eyes scanning the horizon for danger. Mugabe, less adept in the wild, followed, his trust in Tekere absolute. Their destination, a rebel camp in Mozambique, where Frelimo leader Samora Machel promised sanctuary. The journey was a grueling odyssey. They trekked by night, following the Gerezi River's winding path, its waters glinting under moonlight. Rhodesian patrols prowled nearby, their helicopters buzzing like vultures. Tekere, ever the strategist, used his knowledge of Manicaland's terrain, learned as a boy in Penhalonga, to evade capture. Once, as dogs barked in the distance, he led Mugabe into a shallow cave, where they hid for hours, barely breathing. "If we die here," Tekere whispered, "Zimbabwe will rise from our blood." Mugabe nodded, his face pale but resolute. After days of hunger and exhaustion, they crossed into Mozambique, collapsing at a Frelimo outpost. Machel, impressed by Tekere's grit, offered weapons and training camps, effectively launching ZANU's guerrilla war. Tekere's trek wasn't just an escape. It was the spark that ignited the Second Chimurenga, the bush war that would topple Rhodesia by 1980. In the camps, Tekere trained fighters, his fiery speeches rallying thousands to the cause. "We are the spear of the nation," he roared, his voice echoing through the Mozambican hills. The trek's success came at a cost that would haunt Tekere. In Mozambique, Mugabe began to assert control, sidelining Tekere's militant instincts for diplomatic alliances. A subtle rift emerged, unnoticed by most but clear to Tekere. The man he'd crowned was growing wary of his influence. Worse, Rhodesian spies had tracked their route, and a year later, a ZANU camp was bombed, killing dozens. Tekere blamed himself, wondering if their desperate march had left a trail. Yet, this sacrifice, risking death to reach Mozambique, set the stage for Zimbabwe's independence, cementing Tekere's legacy as a liberation hero, even as his bond with Mugabe frayed. Edgar's life was a tapestry of courage, sacrifice, and contradiction. From the youngest detainee defying Rhodesia's chains to the kingmaker who reshaped ZANU in a prison cell, to the warrior who trekked through perilous wilds to ignite a revolution, his story is one of relentless defiance. Yet, each triumph carried a twist. His early arrest made him a legend but isolated his family. His prison coup crowned Mugabe but sowed division. His epic march launched a war, but strained his alliance with the man he'd saved. By 1980, as Zimbabwe celebrated independence, Edgar stood tall as ZANU-PF's Secretary General, only to be sidelined by Mugabe's growing paranoia, leading to his 1988 expulsion and the formation of ZUM. In his final years, battling poverty and cancer, Tekere remained unbowed, endorsing opposition movements and rejecting a hero's burial among thieves. When he died in 2011, ZANU-PF declared him a national hero, a final twist in a life of loyalty and betrayal. His story, vivid with sacrifice and struggle, is a testament to the cost of freedom and the fire of a man who dared to challenge empires.